Hello Tenno, Megan Everett here from the Warframe community team, bringing you a video dev workshop on one of our reworks coming in the Angels of the Zariman update, and that is the Xmus Reborn. Included in the description below will be a link to the dev workshop for the Xmus Reborn and also the Focus workshop, both of them coming April 27th on all platforms in the Angels of the Zariman update. So let's get started. The Xmus Reborn has two main objectives, the first one being amplifying their threat in combat while also adding some justifiable rewards, and also overhauling their visual and audio cues so you know exactly what type of Xmus unit you're up against. So let's start with that first objective of amplifying their threat. Currently, we have a wide pool of Xmus unit types, but not all of them are actually identifiable in battle. Also, they don't typically stick around that long, high level or low level. So we are introducing a more universal Xmus resistance and also tweaking the way that their health, armor, and shields will scale, making them more of a formidable adversary. Introducing Overguard, a new health pool on top of their regular stats that must be removed before you can take down their health and shields. Overguard is an additive amount independent of the enemy's health and shield scaling and is indicated with a bar over top of their existing health and shields. While Overguard is active, it will keep Xmus units immune to Warframe crowd control abilities. Take out their Overguard, they become susceptible to crowd control again. Health, shields, and armor for Xmus now all scale faster at higher levels, up to a point where it will eventually flatten out. Our intent here is to give a slight boost to enemies like butchers more than heavy gunners, and to make difficulty more consistent across enemy types. Now we move on to our second objective of the Xmus Reborn, which is the visual and audio overhaul to all Xmus unit types. We're going to start with the Blitz Xmus unit. Currently, Blitz units use a shockwave knockdown. Now they're going to summon a frontal chain blast attack by slamming their fist into the ground. This blast attack is signaled with an audio cue and the effects of the oncoming blast erupting from below. The Blitz units themselves are now also covered in a crackling energy effects. Next up is Energy Leech or Parasitic Xmus units, depending on what faction you fight. Currently in game, they have an invisible aura that drains energy over time. Now they're going to periodically spawn an Energy Leech zone. It's detonated within seconds and will drain a large amount of energy if not avoided. It's identified by an expanding energy zone that matches the same effects as the unit and an audio cue when it's placed and when it's detonated. The units themselves now appear shrouded in a void-like energy that manifests around their body. Next up we have Guardian Xmus units. Currently, they produce a radial shield charge pulse for allied enemies in range. Now they have 3 rotating shields that fully block incoming damage on themselves and also create a similar visual effect on nearby allies that applies a damage reduction buff on them. Shoot through the gaps to damage the unit. Next up we have Leech and Sanguine Xmus units. Currently, they have lifesteal on damage, whereas now, similar to their Energy Leech counterparts, Leech Xmus now spawn Health Leech zones, which will tick away at your health if not evaded, and also heals nearby enemies. Leech Xmus units now glow red with a pulsing vortex of energy. Moving along to Shock and the newly added Bioelectric Xmus units. That's right, Infested can now become Bioelectric. Currently, Shock Xmus units produce a small electrical damage over time area. Now they will spawn 3 electrical orbs that will hover in place for a few seconds, but they will deal increasing electrical damage around the unit before being released and honing in on the player. Visually, Shock Xmus units have mini versions of the electrical orbs orbiting around them, while they also appear to be covered and crackling with electricity. Next up, we have Arson or Caustic Xmus units. Currently, they produce a Fire Blast attack that knocks down and damages enemies caught in the wake. Now they're going to maintain a Fire Blast attack, but you can counter the Fire Blast by simply rolling through it to negate its oncoming effect. If you are hit, the damage is higher and it's a forced heat status effect. The Arson Xmus units themselves are now completely engulfed in a roaring flame. Next up, we have Venomous Eczema units. Currently in game, they produce a small toxin area. Now, Venomous Eczema units become surrounded by a swirling volume of toxic gas upon being alerted. Coming into contact with the gas will inflict a toxin status effect. It's also worth noting that only enemy melee units can become Venomous Eczema units. And finally, we have Arctic or Frozen Xmus units, which actually visually are not changing because they already represent their mechanics very well. As mentioned in our first objective when we talked about increasing the threat of Xmus units, we have also given their rewards a boost. Their affinity gained is now increased by 200%, and their credits in Endo are dropped at an increased rate. And there you have it, the Xmus Reborn video dev workshop. To recap, we added Overguard as a universal resistant for Xmus units, and we've also completely overhauled the visual and audio cues of Xmus units so that you can identify them in battle. Of course, linked in the description is the actual written dev workshop on our official forums, as well as the focus rework, so you can take a look at both of those that are coming in the Angels of the Zariman update April 27th on all platforms. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you online. Bye!